Hey folks, James Bay here. What if I told you that smack in the middle of the bloodiest war in American history, the Civil War, President Abraham Lincoln paused the chaos of battles, politics, and national survival to save some rocks and a bunch of really big trees? Sounds like the ultimate side quest, right? But on June 30th, 1864, that's exactly what happened with the Yosemite Grant. This isn't just dusty history. It's a wild tale of discovery, greedy settlers, sheep on a rampage, visionary heroes, and one president who said, yeah, even while the country is tearing itself apart, let's protect something beautiful for future generations. Joining me today is my furry co host and history sniffing sidekick, Karma, the AI dog. Karma, what do you think about the president's prioritizing giant sequoias over strategy sessions?
Woof! Sounds tremendous to me, James. But if those trees could talk, they'd probably bark back at the sheep invaders first. Let's dig in, literally.
Picture this. It's 1864. The Civil War is raging on. Grant's overland campaign is chewing through lives in Virginia. Sherman is marching toward Atlanta, and Lincoln is fighting for re-election while managing a fractured nation. Every day brings telegrams of battles, casualties, and political drama. Meanwhile, out west, America is still taming the wild frontier. The Homestead Act is handing out free land to settlers, 160 acres if you improve upon it. Everything is about use. Mine it, farm it, log it, claim it. Wilderness, mostly seen as an obstacle to conquer or a resource to extract. So when a proposal lands to set aside a remote valley and some giant trees in California, not for mining or homesteading, but just for people to enjoy. It was a radical idea, I know. Connis himself called the land for all public purposes worthless on the Senate floor. But perhaps some of the greatest wonders of the world. Talk about selling the sizzle. Why bother? Because artists, writers, and a few forward thinkers were starting to see something priceless in that worthless scenery.
Woof woof! Worthless? Those sequoias were basically the original influencers, standing tall for thousands of years while humans argued over gold nuggets.
So, how did anyone even know about this hidden gem? Non native discovery of Yosemite Valley happened in 1851 during the Mariposa War. The Mariposa Battalion, militia chasing Awanichi people led by Chief Anaya, stumbled into the valley. Lafayette Bonnell, a member who was so awestruck he named it Yosemite, from the Miwok word for grizzly bear, or the people themselves. Debate on the exact translation. But was it really a discovery? Native peoples have lived there for thousands of years. Earlier explorers like Joseph Walker's parties skirted it in 1830s. The real story is publicity. In 1855, entrepreneur James Hutchins led the first tourist party and started hyping it hard. Here's a fun debate point for you in the comments. Historians still argue over credit for popularizing it and protecting it. Some say landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted, Central Park guy, was the secret mastermind pulling strings from behind the scenes. Others say the evidence shows he was mostly in the right place at the right time, after arriving in California in 1863 to manage a mining estate. What do you think? Puppet master or a lucky landscape legend? Drop your takes below.
Arf! Territory disputes and name debates? Sounds like my kind of bone to chew on. Those early explorers were basically the original influencers without Wi-Fi.
Word spreads fast thanks to Hutchings, promotion, and hotels popping up all over the place. But trouble followed. Settlers filed preemption claims, staking prime valley spots for hotels, orchards, and gardens, like James Lamont's famous setup. Trees got cut for better views or lumber. The worst part? Sheep. Thousands of hoofed locusts, as John Muir later called them, were driving into the high meadows every summer. They overgrazed everything, trampled soil, and even ate young trees when hungry. One famous sequoia elsewhere was felled in 1853, cut into sections and toured as a spectacle, sparking some early outrage. These sheep weren't general lawnmowers. They were destructive clear cutters in wool coats. Meanwhile, tourism bloomed with rough trails and stagecoaches. The valley was turning into a mix of Wonderland and Wild West strip mall.
Barm! Those sheep were the original over tourists, eating everything in sight like bad Yelp reviewers.
Enter the heroes. Unitarian minister Thomas Starr King visited in 1860 and wrote glowing and warning letters for East Coast papers. A vacation among the Sierras. His words reached big names and helped shift opinions. Photographer Carlton Watkins hauled his massive camera in and produced stunning images that wowed the East Coast. Then, in February 1864, Israel Ward Raymond, California rep for a New York steamship company, wrote a game-changing letter to Senator John Conness. He enclosed Watkins' photos and basically drafted the bill language. Protect the valley and Mariposa Big Tree Grove to stop homesteaders and save the trees from destruction. The bill's key phrases came straight from Raymond. Conness introduced it in May, calling it a grant of worthless land with great wonders. It sailed through Congress with little debate, partly because it cost nothing and sounded harmless. Here's debate point number 2. Was this pure preservation idealism or smart politics knowing it would ruffle many feathers during wartime? Comment your theory below.
Woof! A letter that changed history? That's my kind of mail delivery, better than chasing squirrels. So, how did this letter change everything? Let's dive into the story.
June 29th, 1864. House passes it. June 30th. Abraham Lincoln signs the Yosemite Grant into law while juggling war telegrams, cabinet drama, and a tough re-election fight. He was signing funding bills, nominations, you name it, but he took the time for this. The grant gave Yosemite Valley and the Mariposa Grove to California on the one condition: hold it forever for public use, resort, and recreation, and inalienable. First time the feds set aside land purely for scenic beauty and public enjoyment. No debate, no big fanfare, just a quiet but revolutionary signature.
Arf arf! Lincoln multitasking like a boss. War on one desk, tree saving on the other. Presidential multi-barking!
California accepted in 1866 and appointed a commission including Frederick Law Olmsted, chairman. He wrote visionary preservation reports, though some historians debate how much he shaped the original bill, and others. Galen Clark, Canadian-born health seeker turned passionate advocate, became the first guardian. He built trails, counted sequoias, ran a humble rest stop, and served for decades with a political interruption. Challenges? Squatters like Hutchings fought eviction. Case went all the way to the Supreme Court, affirming the Fed's rights. Sheep kept grazing, funding was spotty, but the principle held. This land was for everyone, not for profit.
Woof! Clark sounds like the original park ranger hero, guarding trees while hurting humans. I'd apply for that job if dogs could vote.
The Yosemite Grant set the precedent. It inspired the national park idea. Yellowstone became the first official national park in 1872. Expanded in 1890 into Yosemite National Park. John Muir built on this foundation with his advocacy. By 1916, the National Park Service existed. One worthless grant helped birth a system protecting America's greatest places. Without it, those sequoias might have become fence posts, like in nearby groves.
Tail wagging approval. From one signature to a whole park system. History's ultimate glow up.
Here's a history habit twist. Lincoln and these visionaries protected useless beauty amid crisis because they knew humans need wonder and restoration to endure. Today, our civil war is hustle culture, notifications, and endless optimization grazing of our time like those sheep. Your challenge? Grant yourself a personal valley. Write a one-page preservation document naming your non-negotiable restoration time, like Thursday evening's unplugged walk, or creative idling. Appoint a guardian ritual, specific playlist, or corner. Do a weekly boundary survey. Audit your calendar and evict distractions. Share one insight publicly, sometimes for accountability. Protect the worthless parts. They make everything else worthwhile. Start small today. Your future will thank you.
Woof! Sign me up as your digital guardian. I'll bark at any sheep trying to eat your me time.
If this story fired you up, hit like, drop a comment with your debate takes on Olmsted or preservation versus progress, and subscribe for more history habits, deep dives, and share with a friend who needs their own Valley Grant. What part surprised you the most? Karma, any final bark?
Woof woof! History's best when it's this tremendous. Now go protect your peace, humans. See you next time.
Until next time, keep exploring history and granting yourself some wonder. James Bay, signing off for now. See you next time.